Okay. All right. Yeah. So we are recording the session. We get the most out of these sessions if it's interactive. So I'm happy for if anybody wants to put their hand up and ask a question as I go through the presentation. And I think my camera just reacted to my hand, so I have to keep my hands down. Yeah, pop your hand up and ask away. So we will kick off here. So the title of today's session is Unlocking Slack and Salesforce. And I'm going to be delivering the session. I'm Tanya, and I am a co-lead for both the Melbourne Slack chapter and also the Salesforce Melbourne user group. So I get to introduce Joanne. She has just joined myself as a co-lead for the Melbourne Slack chapter. So Jo is on the call. She's helping me let people in, but she's been a big part of the community. We met over probably 2 years ago when Jo was attending the different sessions that we had. If you wanted to say hello, take a minute. Now is your time.
Hi everybody, I'm Jo. I much prefer Jo. I'm only in trouble when I get called Joanne. I wanted to join Tanya with the Slack user group because as a co-lead, because I really am obsessed with Slack. We use it a lot within my company. Our whole team is remote and we literally couldn't survive without it. So I can't wait to sort of share my love with the rest of you guys. And it's great to see everyone joining from the Salesforce group as well. I know a few of you, so hello. Over to you, Tanya.
Welcome again. I'm looking forward to having you as my co-lead. And I will... So co-hosting, again, myself, I'm the technical delivery lead for UDL Group, located here in Melbourne. And I also have been co-hosting the Salesforce group with Josephine and Anne for, I think it's been 3 years. Time's flown by for that. And then I started the Slack a couple of years ago after meeting Jacob over in San Francisco. He was leading community at that stage, and his passion was contagious. So Slack wasn't as much at the forefront at that stage, but it's definitely got there. But yeah, we started this Melbourne chapter and had a few events since then. But yeah, it's definitely forefront now for exposing Salesforce. So glad to be in the group here. Is Anne on the call? I couldn't see her.
I couldn't see her either.
No, okay. All right. Okay, and Josephine, like I said, I'm pretty sure she's on holiday, but Josephine recently won a golden hoodie at Sydney World Tour. So I know there was a lot of excitement around that. So here's a QR code if you did want to join the Slack community. We do have a Slack workspace that you can join, and there's a lot of interaction with people globally who are just love Slack, and you know their biggest challenge is solving your problems. So if you have any questions about how to use Slack or use cases that you're thinking about, the community over in the Slack workspace is the place to be. So we can, I can drop some links after this call too. There'll be an email that goes out at the end of the session, so we can be sure to include the links for both the Melbourne user group and the Slack chapter. Here's one of our pages that we share. We do have a LinkedIn page for the Salesforce user group. So if you're not already following it, make sure you add that over in LinkedIn. You'll be notified of any of the sessions that are being hosted and of upcoming events. Just wanted to share with you all, I'm not sure if anybody attended Trubu Blazing last year. I think it was in November. This is a community-led event, and it's happening again in October later this year. So they're not actually selling tickets yet, but we are sharing save the date to make sure that you can attend on that day and participate. They're currently calling for speakers, and it's definitely focused on community participation as opposed to more sales. So it's community speakers that they're after to share their knowledge and information. So you can find all that information over on their website. So what will this session cover? We're going to look at Salesforce channels and how you can use them in different ways. We're going to look at a workflow. I think it was creating a Slack channel on a Salesforce record based on certain triggers. And then we're also going to take a look at Slackbot. It'd be good to actually, if you're already using Slack, give us a thumbs up just so we have an understanding of who's on the call. Yeah, cool. Okay, great. And what about if you're using Salesforce? I always think that Salesforce came first, and most people have that, but I am proven wrong over and over. There are a lot of companies that aren't using Salesforce, but are using Slack. Yeah, exactly. All right, awesome. One more. Somebody, if you can give me a reaction to say, have you used Slackbot in Slack? Yeah. Yeah, we've got a few. Jessica, and you are using it. Okay, awesome. So that's probably a smaller number than what's on the call, so that's good. Okay. So we're not going to cover connecting your Slack and Salesforce workspace in this session. This is focusing on if you have already connected your Slack workspace to Salesforce, and then what you can do as a next step to upgrade how you're using it. I did present this up in February at Sydney Agentforce World Tour that was on, but I know not everybody can get to that, which is why we thought hosting this virtual session would be a good thing for the community. So first of all, Salesforce channels. We're going to look at automating the architecture for every project, deal, and case. So I'm going to talk to this recording that's here. Make it, is that too big?
No, I think that looks good.
Okay, all right, great. So here we're on a lead where we've already connected Salesforce and Slack, and you can see that the Slack component is visible on this Slack record. So what you're actually looking at here is the shell or the possibility of a Slack channel. The channel hasn't been created yet. So there's a couple of ways that you can create your Slack channel. The first and most simple way is by putting the cursor inside the box and starting to type. And then just hitting enter. And what will happen is your channel will be created and it inherits the name of the record that it's attached to as the channel name. So this was Lady Gaga. This is my example here. So as soon as I started typing, that channel was created. And it's visible over in Slack, just as it was on the Salesforce record. Now looking at what's actually visible here in Slack, we're here in the messages channel. You can add anybody in your environment to the channel, but only people who also have a Salesforce record will have access to this, a Salesforce license, will have access to this second tab. And what this is showing us is the actual Salesforce record. If you don't have that license, you can still participate in the messages on the channel, but you just won't have visibility of the actual lead record. So just like you can over on your Salesforce record, here in Slack, you can edit these records. I think some people make changes and don't realize that's actually live data that you're using there, but any changes that you make here to that Salesforce record will reflect over on your Salesforce record as well. Okay, so just because you've created your channel just by typing your message doesn't mean that you miss out on the value of being able to automate setting up templates in your channel. So there's a couple of ways to do it. Right now, all I've done is hit the plus on the tabs at the top and selected one of the templates that were already available. So from here, you can choose which of these canvases or lists that are automatically added. And once you hit the button, you can see here it's actually setting up the structure of your channel. So you can use those pre-built templates, or you can build your own templates and add them to the channel. So now it doesn't take too long to set up. It depends how much complexity is in the canvases and lists that are a part of your template, but this one happened in real time. From here, you can select workflows. Yes, Katrina, there is one channel per record, but you can link related records to the channel. So there's actually a tab, one of the tabs at the top. And if I go back in that recording, see just at the top here where it says related conversations. If there's other conversations where you've talked about this specific record, or perhaps shared a link to this lead record in another conversation, you will see it here under related conversations. And you can also select other records to relate to it. For example, if you have a lead record, you can then relate that lead record to an opportunity. I think there was one more question.
There was another question.
Yeah. Can we add more than one assignee in the project tracker? Yes. In a template, yes, you can link multiple people on the template, on the canvas, and also in tasks. Does that answer your question, Manuza? Okay, thank you. Okay, great. All right. So what we just saw there, we can launch the channel from any Salesforce record that has been set up for Slack channels. You can use those ready to work templates. So you can standardize success with these, and you can turn a chat room into a functional workspace. You can also let Salesforce Flow do the heavy lifting, automatically provisioning channels and syncing the right teams based on record data. So that's what we're going to take a look at now. Okay, so we've come back in to the channel that already exists, and I've built another workflow here. And this is for, this is for an opportunity. So what we've set up here is that when a stage has changed and the stage is equal to needs analysis, this was the flow that I had already built. But what we're going to do is add in a new condition, and we're going to say that when the amount is greater than, and we're going to enter our value here. So I'm setting the channel to create based on these changes happening to an opportunity record over in Salesforce. And then what will happen is it'll create the Salesforce channel and it'll link it to that opportunity. Jess, go for it.
I didn't see where you launched the creation of the workflow from. Is it from one of those related tabs on the Slack channel?
Yeah, it's on the left-hand side. It's under Tools.
Okay.
Hang on, let me back up.
On the left-hand side under Tools.
Yeah, just over here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, if you look on the left side of the screen, at the top, you'll see tools. I actually launched it from that 3-dot button where it says more. Yours might look a bit different.
Mine, it's in the same place. Yeah. I was actually trying to launch it from one of those tabs along the top underneath Lady Gaga. If you click on the more, on the plus button, God, what did I do? If you click on that plus button, then workflows appears in the list. Oh, you're looking at a recording. You can't do it. Okay.
I can't do it, no, but so that's where you can add pre-built or workflows that you've already created and activated. So no worries. So what I've done there is go to tools and then created a new workflow, or in my example, I actually had a workflow that I built by the same steps. And what I'm showing you is just adding in an extra step and then what happens next. So this was linking it to the opportunity automatically. And then inviting the owner of that record to be a member of the channel. So you might have for example, a user group that you've set up with your sales team. You can add them all automatically to this channel. And then we are sending a message into the channel, welcoming the people. I'm going to add another step here as well, and that is I'm going to share a canvas. So we can have templates already set up with canvases that could have our project steps on it. Here I'm just sharing
Tanya, what's a canvas?
Sorry?
What's a canvas?
What's a canvas? A canvas is a document similar to maybe a Google Doc or a Microsoft Word doc that's housed within Salesforce.
Slack.
So you can link it to channels. You can share it to individuals or to channels. You can put other documents or canvases inside of a canvas. It's like like a blank slate, or it could be a predefined template. You can add and share.
So just to be clear, a canvas is something within Slack.
Yes.
Not within Salesforce. It's not a Salesforce thing.
Correct. Yes. A canvas is within Slack. Yep.
Do you use it a lot, Tanya?
So much.
So much.
So much.
Like note taking, kind of the place where you go to
more,
you know.
I use it in my company more often for shared resources is probably the best example. So we will often have a channel per project or per customer. And in that, we might have work instructions for certain things or notes to about something that's related to this particular customer that we go back to all the time. Remember how to do this weird and wonderful process that this customer wants, et cetera, et cetera. So you can use it for really anything that you want. You could have lists in there. You could have lots and lots of things like key contacts, blah, 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 all of that sort of thing.
Fantastic. Thank you.
You can also, Joe just touched on there, you can add in lists, and within lists, it's like I use it often actually, it's similar to Jira. You can set it up and assign tasks with due dates to certain people, and they'll receive notifications that they have tasks. Yeah. It's kind of feels limitless what you can do within those canvases. I see a hand up there, Sharon.
Sharon, yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yep. So just within the canvas, if we're dumping notes or conversations in there, is it easy to pull out the information that you just want to look at as a summary rather than having to read everything that's in there?
I think Tanya will be coming to that shortly.
Okay, cool. No worries.
Yeah, we're going to look in the third and final recording at Slackbot. And what you can do with Slackbot. And then if anyone's interested, I can share my screen actually live in the Slack community, and we can test out a few of the things or the use cases that we're talking about. We can have a look at those canvases, the lists as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there was another question as well. Sorry, wait 1 second.
And we use it for numbers like Excel. You actually can set it up. You can set up the tables like Excel, and then you can extract the data as an Excel or CSV. Yep. All right, we'll keep going here. Yeah. So I'm sharing a canvas, and here I'm going to add the canvas tab to the channel. So we'll see all of that in action. I'm publishing the changes. So now this is active. And I think we go back over to Salesforce. And so this is an opportunity that I've set up. The amount's $1 million. So it does meet the criteria that I set up. And if we move it to needs analysis, so I've got the Slack channel set as a tab on my Salesforce record. It can take a minute or two. I think I actually paused this because it did take a couple of minutes to add all the steps in. I have a lot of automation running in the environments I'm in, and it can take a minute or two when you're doing things like archiving channels. Okay, so I've got the notification here in Slack. This is the opportunity Slack channel that was just created. So it's created the channel. It's got the name of the Salesforce record. It's sent the message into the channel, and it's shared that canvas automatically here. And if you look at the top of the page, you'll see there's a tab that says account plan, and this is the canvas here. So you can add in information about the record, you can drop direct links, you can add in profiles there for other users in Slack. And this is your conversations here. So here, I think I'm searching for that Lady Gaga, the lead channel, and I'm adding it as a related channel to that opportunity, which I think is really useful if you want to go back and what was discussed before this lead was converted. So now here on the opportunity record, so this is the Salesforce record being surfaced in Slack. You can make your changes directly here in Slack, or you can open your record over in Salesforce. So it's the same view
Okay,
there.
I can see, Tanya, you're putting the Slack channel into its own dedicated tab, as opposed to putting it in the right-hand side where you might have an activity timeline typically. And is that because it just displays better 2/3 of the page as opposed to 1/3?
Honestly, Jess, it's a preference for the business. Do they want that Slack channel surfaced front and center? If you have it on that that center component like I did here, you can choose to have that as the default. Like it might be the focus that you want the Slack channel to be front and center.
Yeah.
But you can put that component anywhere on the page that you choose.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, so we touched on Slackbot, but let's take a look at that. So the question we had to do with summarizing perhaps the conversation. Maybe you've had a huddle and you've turned on AI notes in your huddle, and it's got a transcript of your huddle, and then it's given a summary and your action items. You can save that. It's automatically going to be saved into the huddle channel or your direct message, wherever that's happening. But what can you do with that information? That's what we're going to take a look at next. So a few suggestions here. You can summarize your project wins. This is all using Slackbot. That's what we're looking at now. You can create a kudos digest where you automatically go through mentions within different channels. And then another one which is super useful is the knowledge base. If you work in cases and you have your environments connected and you want to ask Slackbot for any, identify any recurring cases with the same subject or the same content, it's crazy how quickly it can come back and tell you if you give it a time frame and identify any themes or challenges or consistent issues that you're seeing, you can now have Slack summarize that. So what we're going to take a look at is in the Slack community environment, which is a public-facing workspace. I used Slackbot to come up with some things. So, and again, when we do, if I don't show it here, I can switch over and I'll show my screen with the Slack community. But to access Slackbot, if it's active in your environment, you'll see this little emoji at the top of your screen. I think it's cut off, and that's how you initiate a conversation with Slackbot. So I'm adding a prompt in here, and what I'm using it for is to help me craft some LinkedIn posts. So I'm going to give it, this prompt wasn't great, but that was kind of my intent, right? I didn't want it to be too curated. So give me some posts to schedule based on channels that I've interacted with. It should be engaging. It should, I want to foster engagement over in LinkedIn about some of the things that are being discussed. So this is real time. It's going through all of the conversations or channels that I've been part of in that time frame. And it's giving me suggestions for when is the best time to post on LinkedIn. But I don't think this quite hit the mark for what I was asking for. But here it tells me why it's suggesting what it's suggesting. Then optimal posting schedule, the best time of the day. And then it's suggesting images to match the posts. And then it's giving me content tips. But I wanted it to actually create the posts. Now at the bottom, it's saying, do you want me to create the posts? And I'm saying, yes, please do this. And usually, especially if it's things like summarizing cases or problems, I ask it to create it on a canvas. So now we get to see the canvas in action as well. Now, I can give it the same prompt today and tomorrow and the next day and get 3 completely different results. Sometimes it automatically gives it to me in the format that I want. Sometimes it misses the mark and I have to go back and give even more instruction. Okay, so it's telling me what it's done, and here's the link to the calendar. So let's go have a look at this canvas. So it'll always tell you it was generated using AI, which is good. And these are the posts that it's suggesting. Manaza, not that I'm aware of at this point, but there could be a connector out by now. Things change every day. And if anybody else knows, feel free to chime in if you can connect. So it's giving me the different posts I asked for. So I actually posted some of these leading up to World Tour on my LinkedIn post. I set them up and scheduled them, and I had AI create the images that it suggested just based on the prompts that it shared when it was saying what to add on. So, okay, yeah, you need me to wear, yeah, that makes sense. So, so that was the output that it gave based on the prompts, and then I scheduled them. And if you wanted to take a look and see on my LinkedIn profile leading up in February, there's not probably been that many since then, but you would actually see I think it was 5 posts that I scheduled in the month of February, and they were all created by Slackbot. So I just copied and pasted them in, created the images. It probably took me 30 minutes from start to finish, and it was all based on information conversations that I had had. But yeah, so here's a couple of the QR codes aren't working again. I don't know if they expire. Sorry about that. If they're not working, I'll share them again in the follow-up email. But this would take you to LinkedIn, or you can just search up deactivated. I'll share these links again in the email that will go out after this meeting. And there's my thank you from Sydney World Tour. So that's the end of the presentation for today. I hope that that was useful. And if anybody wants to take a look at it in real time, I'm happy to screen share again, and let's have a look in Slack Community and see what we can come back with.
Could you just remind us what licenses are needed in order to do what you've demonstrated today?
So you need to have Pro or Business or Enterprise.
Of Slack.
Yes, of Slack.
Right. So you have to be Slack Pro, Slack Business, or Slack Enterprise. Gotcha.
Or Enterprise. And your admins have to have turned it on.
Yep.
If it's not turned on, you won't have access to it.
Sure,
There's
but that's a simple mechanical one-time thing, right?
It is, but there are limits. So
Yes.
up until April 1st, it was limitless, your calls out to Slackbot. But as of April 1st, I think, is it 11 or 15, Jo, do you know?
15. You're limited to 15 on everything below enterprise.
Yeah. And what that means is initiating 15 separate conversations with Slackbot per person. It would be ideal if it pooled 15 per person, depending on how many people are in your environment, but it doesn't. So enterprise, it's unlimited, but on Business Plus, yeah.
There's still fair use sort of rules around enterprise. So if you're like spamming it all the time, I think there would be some sort of throttling of your use, but it definitely is limited to the ones below. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Katrina, you had a question.
Yeah, thank you. Just wanted to ask, is there some resources where we can learn to do the first part, like connecting Salesforce to Slack?
Yes. Yeah. It should have been one of the links on that QR code, but I'll share with you in the follow-up email. There's a complete PDF that walks you through step by step.
And Jess?
I can see Angela's here, and there might be some other people who are from non-profit, but Slack Enterprise discount for non-profit is 85%. So it works out to be about $11 per user per month, which is really like super fantastic. Yeah. And also Slack Pro is completely free for charities up to 250 users. So I've been using Slack Pro for the last 6 years for delivering our volunteer program. And we went through quite a bit of pain when we upgraded to Enterprise, which was just really, probably avoidable. Tanya knows this, but I upgraded to Enterprise for my paid employees. So there's 13 of us. And we've got about sort of 25, 30 volunteers in the work experience program. And there was sort of a lack of clarity of how they would access all the channels in our work account. They actually did have their own workspace in Slack, which was just like a free Slack environment. And there were all of these warning messages saying, your environment's going to expire, because I think you get a 3-month trial. And so we were terrified that we were going to kind of lose the ability for those folk to join our enterprise org through Slack Connect. But fortunately, that deadline came around, and it's now just choked as a workspace to 90 days worth of messaging. But they are able to use that to access our enterprise account, Slack account, through Slack Connect. So it's actually worked out really well. So I think for charities that want to use enterprise for their staff and then still have the ability to use Slack to communicate with volunteers, it's a really nice option. Yeah, and even without paying for enterprise, the fact that you can have a pro plan as a charity for free up to 250 users, that covers a lot of small charities' volunteer requirements. So yeah, it's, it's so easy to use on your mobile phone, and it's so easy to put out alerts for, somebody hasn't showed up for their shift today, can anyone jump in and help out, like that sort of stuff. It's just really powerful, and it's replaced I think probably 10 years ago we were really reliant on Facebook, and then perhaps a lot of organizations have maybe moved to something like WhatsApp, but I think Slack is a fantastic option, and it's just so amazing that it's free for charities to use. Sorry for anybody who doesn't work for charity.
Well, thank you for sharing, Jessie, because it's important that people know that that's an option for them. Yeah. So just a few things here. This is the Members Melbourne Slack channel. It's not very active, but I can show you here. So this is a canvas, and let's do some live updates, because Sarah was my co-lead, and now
the evil Joe's
here. So I can add Jo here because she's a member of this workspace, and then I can display it as a card so we look a little fancier.
Fancy.
Yeah, you can add in PDFs. So we were just talking about how you can share your documentation. So you can add in PDFs here. When you add them in like this, they actually become searchable. So if you need to find out something about it up here, it can pull from information on those documents. These were some other sessions that we had there. We talked about creating tables within, so you can do that just from here. And we can insert a list. So we can create them just like that. And then if it's something that, and I'm going really quick here just to give you an overview, but if we wanted to add in task tracking fields, so similar to Jira, not as powerful, but like it does the job for so many things. So you can assign your tasks, you can add in extra fields, you can create pick lists. So create status is a common one. I feel like I make that over and over. To do, in progress, done. Default to do, and just like that. Now I've got a task tracking list, meeting wrap up. I'm going to assign that to Jo, and it's due tomorrow. So just like that, you can add in your different functions of these canvases, and you can open this in its own window completely separate. You can link files. I think it was Jess who talked about the workflows. So you can add workflows to the channel to be available. The other thing you can do is feature workflows. So we've created some kind of automation. It might be, for example, a daily stand-up. My use case here was ideas for our sessions. So this automation has been created and added to the channel. When I featured it, it's now a button in the channel that's available, and anybody in the channel can click that and complete the form. So there's a lot of things that you can do here in Slack. Slackbot was the other one, right? Here we go. So your live AI coworker, Slackbot. Any questions that we can ask here?
Ask Slackbot about the limits for the different versions.
Okay.
So we make sure that we're right.
We'll see what it says. So it's going to only pull from channels or messages that I've been a part of or that I have access to. It will not pull from any private channels or channels that I'm not in. Okay, so free and pro plans, it's not available. Business, limited to 15 per week. The limit resets every Monday at midnight or Sunday night. And enterprise is none. So so it's not on pro at all. I feel like that might have changed.
I don't know. We might have to look at that reference.
Yeah.
I like that as well, the fact that it, like similar to other AI tools, it actually does give you a reference, which is great. So you can go back and find where that came from.
It's linked me out to an external Slack resource, and I'm going to post it here in the meeting channel, just so you'll be able to grab that link and find out more about Slackbot. So I make this chat will have a limit where it'll get to the end and say you've used up everything for this chat. And then you usually have to start a different one, but you can go back and look at your history here of what you've asked. Yeah, there was some different things that I was doing to test it out. Okay. I think we've come to the end of our session. If anybody wants to stay on and have a chat for a couple of minutes before we end the call, you're welcome to. Any use cases that you wanted to share or anything at all? Otherwise, we'll jump off. Hi. Oh, Katrina's on. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. No worries. All right, we'll end it there. Bye, everyone. See you next time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.